The animal in front of you weighs as much as a truck. You weigh about as much as one of its legs. You have no claws, no fangs, no armor, and you are slower than nearly everything on 4 feet. And you have decided, with your soft hands wrapped around a sharpened stick, that today this thing dies and you eat it. This should not work.
By every rule in the animal kingdom, you are not the hunter here. You are the snack. The leopard has the teeth. The wolf has the speed. The bear has enough raw power to end you with one bored swipe of a paw. You have a wobbly, upright body, a big, fragile head, and a stick you made yesterday. And yet for hundreds of thousands of years, your ancestors walked up to the largest creatures that have ever shared this planet with us and turned them into dinner. So how? How did the weakest looking ape in the room become the deadliest animal that has ever lived? The answer is that you never fought the fight the giant was expecting. You brought 3 weapons no other predator on Earth had ever carried, and not one of them was your muscles.
Start with the strangest weapon of all. Your body is built to never, ever stop. Pick a hot afternoon, the kind where every sensible animal lies down in the shade and waits for evening. That is when you go to work. You jog up to a large antelope, and you do the one thing it cannot handle. You simply keep coming. It bolts easily and leaves you far behind. So you follow the tracks at a steady trot, and a few minutes later you find it again, panting, and it bolts again, and again, and again. Here is the trick the antelope does not know. It cannot sweat the way you can, so it sheds heat by panting, and it cannot pant and gallop at the same time. You can. Your nearly hairless skin is studded with 2 to 3 million sweat glands, a built-in cooling system no other large animal comes close to matching. So under the noon sun, the fastest thing on the plain slowly cooks inside its own body, while the slow, soft ape just keeps jogging. After a few hours, it staggers, its temperature climbing toward fatal, and it goes down, and you walk up and finish, a creature you could never have caught in a sprint. Biologists call this persistence hunting, and 2 researchers, Daniel Lieberman and Dennis Bramble, argued in 2004 that it is part of why your whole body looks the way it does. The long legs, the springy Achilles tendon, the big knee joints, the arched foot, the way your head stays level when you run. You are not built like a sprinter. You are built like a hunter who wins by refusing to quit. Hunter-gatherers in the Kalahari were still doing exactly this within living memory, jogging a kudu to collapse across a long, brutal afternoon. The giant is faster than you for 10 minutes. You are faster than the giant for 10 hours. Guess which one matters? That is weapon 1. Now pick up the stick again, because weapon 2 is your arm. Watch a chimpanzee throw something. It is one of our closest relatives, far stronger than you, pound for pound, and it throws like a furious toddler, maybe 20 miles an hour, badly aimed. Now, watch a human throw. A trained arm can hurl an object at over 90 miles an hour with frightening accuracy. That gap is not about muscle. The biologist Neil Roach showed in 2013 that the human shoulder works like a slingshot. As you cock your arm back, the tendons and ligaments stretch and store elastic energy, then release it all at once in a whip crack that flings the projectile forward far faster than your muscles alone ever could. No other animal has a shoulder built to do this. You are, quite literally, the only thing on the planet that can reliably kill from a distance using nothing but its own body. Strap that arm to a sharpened spear, and the giant suddenly has a serious problem, because now you can hurt it without standing close enough to be stepped on. And your ancestors figured this out astonishingly early. In a coal mine near Schöningen in Germany, the archaeologist Hartmut team uncovered a set of wooden throwing spears roughly 300,000 years old, carefully shaped and balanced, lying among the butchered remains of dozens of wild horses. 300,000 years. That is long before our own species even existed. An earlier kind of human was already planning organized big game hunts, building the weapons in advance, and bringing down powerful animals on purpose. This was never a story of desperate apes getting lucky. It was a craft, and it was old.
Later hunters bolted on a small, brilliant upgrade, the spear thrower, a simple notched stick of bone or wood that works as an extension of your arm. It is pure leverage. It lengthens your throw, multiplies the speed, and lets a spear punch deep into thick hide from clear across a clearing. With one cheap tool, a person of completely ordinary strength suddenly hit like something far larger. But endurance and a good arm still do not explain the truly enormous kills. A spear is a fine thing against a horse. It is a polite suggestion against a 6-ton mammoth. So how do you kill something 80 times your own weight? You don't. You let the world do it for you. That is weapon 3, and it is the one that actually made us. You stopped fighting the giant and started using its own size against it.
Think about what a huge animal is bad at. It cannot turn quickly. It cannot climb well. It panics in a crowd. And once a herd is stampeding, it cannot see where it is going. So your ancestors learned to read a landscape like a weapon. Drive a herd toward a bog, and the heaviest animals sink. Drive them into a narrow gully, and they trample each other. And the masterpiece of the whole strategy was the cliff. In southern Alberta, in Canada, there is a place called Head Smashed In Buffalo Jump, and people used it for nearly 6,000 years. The plan was breathtakingly simple and breathtakingly effective. Teams of people, sometimes disguised in animal skins, would patiently guide a herd of bison into a funnel of stone lanes laid out across the plain, then panic them into a stampede pointed at a cliff edge the animals could not see coming. The herd ran straight off it. A single good drive could bring down more meat in an afternoon than a whole band could eat in a year. Nobody wrestled a bison. Nobody had to be brave. They turned gravity into a hunting partner.
And none of that works without the quietest weapon of all, which is talk. A cliff drive needs dozens of people in exact positions, each one trusting the others to hold, to wait, to break cover at precisely the right instant. That takes planning made of words, a shared map of who stands where and what happens next. The hunt did not just feed language. It rewarded the bands that could plan out loud and quietly buried the ones that could not. The same cold genius shows up everywhere the giants lived. In Arizona, archaeologists have found delicate stone spear points still lodged in the ribs of mammoths 13,000 years later. Around the world, there are pits dug as traps, fires lit to steer herds, ambush points chosen at river crossings. The pattern never changes. The human is not strong. The human is not fast. The human has simply decided, with that big, strange brain, that the animal's single greatest advantage, its size, is going to be the exact thing that gets it killed.
Here is the part worth sitting with. A human weighs around 70 kilograms. A woolly mammoth weighed about 6,000. The title of this story says 10 times your size, and honestly, that was being generous to the mammoth. It was closer to 80. You were not punching above your weight. You were punching at something that could not even register you as food, only as a mild annoyance, right up until the moment the ground gave way or the cliff arrived.
So why bother? Why risk a band's strongest hunters against an animal that could flatten 3 of them by accident?
Because of what one kill bought you. Bring down a single large animal, and you do not eat for a day. You eat for weeks. You walk home carrying fat, the richest fuel there is, in quantities no pile of roots and berries could ever come close to. And that flood of calories, hunt after hunt, generation after generation, is widely thought to be part of what fed the most expensive organ your body owns, your brain. The same brain that planned the hunt, that moved 20 people without a single word out of place, that remembered exactly where the cliff was. Hunting giants did not just feed us. In a strange loop, it helped build the very thing that made us good at hunting giants. We got so good at it that the giants began to vanish. As modern humans spread across the world, the great beasts faded out one region at a time. The mammoths, the giant ground sloths, the woolly rhinos. Scientists still argue over how much of that was us and how much was a shifting climate, and the honest answer is probably both. But it is a sobering thing to hold in your head that the soft, slow ape with the sharpened stick may have been the most consequential predator this planet has ever produced. And you still carry all 3 weapons. You never lost them. The endurance is still in there, which is why an ordinary person with a little training can run 26 miles for fun, a feat almost no other animal alive could survive. The arm is still there, which is why a stadium full of people will pay to watch one human throw a small ball 98 miles an hour past another. And the cooperative brain is still there. In every team that takes a job too big for any one person, breaks it into pieces, and somehow makes the pieces fit. You are descended from the ones who looked at the biggest, strongest thing on the horizon and felt, instead of fear, the quiet certainty of a plan. The animal in front of you weighs as much as a truck. You weigh about as much as one of its legs. And the only reason you are here at all is that against every rule in nature, your ancestors looked up at it, tightened their grip on a sharpened stick, and saw lunch.